Welcome back, everybody. It is the Working Brother, back at you with another talk. Yet again, we've got Robert Bridge here with us. Can we hear you, Robert? This is the third time lucky try.
Yeah, testing.
Awesome.
1, 2, 3.
Excellent.
Cool.
We can hear you. This is
They
the
didn't.
third time.
They didn't sanction the cables on us, huh?
I don't know.
Give it time. We better make it quick.
Yeah. Let's get right into the thick of it. You drew my attention to the fact that there was another attack on Russia today. Let me see if I can get that here in the background. I wanted to get your take on how people in Moscow are reacting to, these constant escalations by the Ukrainians.
Well, to be honest, I think it probably would be like a 5-minute conversation over their coffee in the morning. These attacks are just really attacks of this. I mean, of course, in the regions where they're happening, and in the neighborhood in Moscow, for example, there was a drone attack the other day. Of course, this is gonna I mean, Moscow is a city of 16 million people, first of all. So you hit one building, you hit one building in New York City. I mean, we're not talking about 911 here. Planes flying into skyscrapers. This is little drone attacks. Of course, people are going to be like, "What the hell happened?" But nothing. And Taranrog, it's a small city, so of course that's going to make. And that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to stir up. They're trying to agitate and provoke the Russian population, because right now they see that the situation for them is just hopeless, and it's truly just basically acts of desperation. Instead of focusing on the battlefield where the Russians are, just literally kicking ass, they're resorting to this sort of stuff, and it's terrorism, and it's pathetic. And what can you say? It's all they can do right now. So no, the Russians, they're not. Of course, they talk about it on the news. They have to. It's anything that bleeds, leads, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know how many people. I don't know. I think you said that you heard something that there were some deaths, some big
injuries. It wasn't specified whether there were deaths, but there were 3 people injured in the Taganrog attack. This is footage from the Moscow strikes the other day. So basically, yeah, thanks to the Guardian for the footage, haha.
Right.
Yeah. So basically, your take is that the Russians there are living through it. Like it's not worrisome, but it's not something.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. It's no, it's not causing. It's not rattling. I mean, it takes a lot to rattle the Russians' nerves. These are the people that held out for like what 4,000 days in St. Petersburg. So it's going to take a lot more than one drone hitting the top of a building to get them really shook up. And really, I think it's probably, if you want the brutal honesty, my honest, well, of course, my honest, I wouldn't say anything else, but I think that it's just the media and the West trying to cover for the fact that Ukraine is getting whooped so bad that they need something to fill in for that, and that's something that they can push in CNN and whatever, and say, oh look, strike on Moscow instead of Ukrainians suffering 200,000 dead on the battlefield. So yeah.
So it's basically just headline news that the West is using to draw people's attention away from the battlefield failures.
It's just been a massive. Yeah, it's just been a massive. I mean, really, it was this whole counteroffensive. It's just been a massive disaster for the Ukrainian forces, and they just. Like in basketball too, it's so funny that they did it. They just kept talking about it, talking it up, and you don't you try to make a head fake. You don't want to tell people too much what you're going to do, but they just telegraphed everything and told them that they're going to have this kind. I mean, of course, it was. Yeah. What else are they going to do? They have to do something. But I mean, Russia's just been, especially the last few days, they've been really making all this. All these Western, and we can get into that, but all this Western equipment that's been pumped in, the Panzer tanks or whatever they're called, German tanks, Czech tanks, American weapons, and it's just they have not this,
For,
you know, for
for
all
the
the
record,
talk.
they're leopards. The Panzers were the original German.
There you
No
go.
German ones. But
Yeah,
what
I'm
is it
getting my
with
wars
Germans?
confused.
What is it with Germans naming their tanks after like African cats? I don't get it. Um,
It's a Nazi thing.
is it?
I don't
It
know.
might.
Maybe.
It might be. Um, I wanted to bring up one of the more provocative topics going around
Sex.
these days. No, sex is not provocative anymore. Well,
Good. I haven't had it in such a long time. I couldn't tell you anything about it. I'm a
um,
divorcee.
it's okay.
Correct.
You're on the market again, as they say, right?
Well,
So
I'm like, you know, old wine, so I don't know. I guess some people can afford it. I don't know. I'm not really in big
single,
demand these days.
single ladies in Moscow, you can find Robert. We'll
I'm too old for
leave a
Tinder.
comment.
I'm too old for
Oh, we'll
Tinder.
get
If
to
anybody,
Tinder.
if
We'll get to
any
Tinder.
females watching this, swipe right, swipe right.
We'll get to Tinder. We'll get to Tinder later. I've got
Okay.
an interesting Tinder video, but I wanted to bring up what I'm referring to as the Rostov circus. Some people refer to it as the coup or Prigozhin's crazy coup. If you pay attention here, this is the tank that was wedged into like this building, and these are commercials for an upcoming circus in Rostov that was going to be there those days.
That's hysterical.
So
So that's
that's
a
why that's what
that's a Wagner tank.
yeah, that's a Wagner tank in Rostov, all right, and it's wedged in, and like apparently like 10 million rubles will be it will be taken out of the city budget of Rostov to like repair all the damage that Wagner did. So there's many people who still believe it was like a random event and that Prigozhin was crazy. Before we start anything, I want to play this for everybody. This is from a video game, Call of Duty 4. Some people
Okay.
might remember it. Russian Telegram channels caught on very quickly.
Good news first, the world's in great shape. We've got a civil war in Russia, government loyalists against ultranationalist rebels, and 15,000 nukes at stake.
Just another day at the office.
All right, so that's the intro scene from one of these games, and basically 2 hours into the circus, Russian Telegram channels as well as others were uploading this, and they were like, "Oh, okay, it's just they did an update of the game." So, what do you think? What is the general take on the ground? The like word among the common folk in Russia? Was there a coup? What is your personal opinion?
I think it was just total deception on the part of the Russians. I think that there was never any attempt at a coup. I think Prigozhin and you know, there's all this talk that he's, I don't know, he was lured by money. I mean, the guy's pretty much a millionaire, if not a billionaire. He's an oligarch, so he doesn't need the money. He can't be bought by money. So that I think that's just ridiculous that he betrayed Russia for money. So I really believe that what he did was it was just pure deception. He made it seem like there was problems with Russia. He was against Russia, so he sounded the bugle for a mutiny and started charging towards Russia. So what would the Ukrainian forces do? They're gonna follow in right behind him, right, single file, and say, yeah, let's go. We'll let Prigozhin lead the way. And I don't, you know, it's hard to prove these things, but I mean, the guy now, you would think that if he really did something like that he would be on the run and he would be, you know, he would be a hunted man, right?
He'd be dead. He'd be long dead. Let's put it that way. Have you seen the video of the street cleaner?
No, I missed. You see more about Russia than I do. And what is this?
Watch. This is beautiful.
Можно ваш комментарий по поводу происходящего?
Честно говорю, братан, мне что происходит? Все по плану.
По хуям.
Вот нет, все по плану. А там как получится.
Услышал.
This
Yeah,
is
that's
on
it.
the day of the coup. You know.
See, the average person on the street, knows more than all the analysts out there. It's
I
bullshit. I
don't.
mean, there's just
I don't think this guy was an average guy on the street. Let's put it that way. But he definitely was just a cleaner on that day, quote unquote. So
But
the
he knows
Rostov
he knows a
circus.
lot.
Yeah,
You want
yeah, yeah.
you want the real inside information. You ask a taxi driver. These guys are. I've never had such intelligent conversations than with these guys. Are just driving around listening to people and listening to the radio all day long. And so yeah, what's this?
This is more footage of Wagner's and Rostov just mingling with people during the coup.
Well, yeah, it looks like a really serious coup, huh?
Yeah,
Have a
like
coffee, the coffee coup, the cappuccino coup. Sit down and have a dinner and then.
I don't know. There's a lot of analysts losing sleep over how this affects Putin's stability. Do you think Putin is threatened?
It's an Western analyst wet dream, to have some. This is exactly what they wanted, and I think this is the key to it. This is exactly what they were hoping for Moscow, that a war, any type of war with Ukraine drawn out, it's gonna bring us, a civil war. It's gonna bring people out on the streets of Moscow. That's what they were hoping for all along. So Moscow is just giving them exactly what they wanted, and so I think it's just a very well scripted idea. Personal opinion. I don't know. I haven't really heard too many other people say that, but I mean, it just seems so. It's just so ridiculous that. And now Perozin, he's actually in St. Petersburg this week, attending the St. Petersburg,
with the
Russia African. Yeah,
I should have gotten a picture. There's a couple of really good pictures of him in exile, looking to hide his troops in Africa. Is the official narrative? It's just hilarious what people will believe.
It really is. Yeah.
And this is them dismantling the banners on the day, and this is the Wagner tank leaving the day after. This is I don't know what's up with this player, but every time I load the videos it like rearranges them and plays them in whatever order it wants. But the point is, this is Prigozhin in Rostov. Obviously very coup-like behavior. Like you can tell both of these guys are under a lot of stress. Look at the guy, he's smiling top right. It's hilarious.
So this is like this is supposed to be part of the coup, yeah?
Yeah. This is in Rostov, in the military headquarters, district headquarters of the southern district.
I mean, he would have been taken out by a sniper. He would have been taken out by a sniper like 3 seconds after he set foot in Russia. There would have been a sniper to take him out, right? I mean, come on, what are they talking about? It's just so.
Your audio is starting to crackle a bit. I think you need to like calm down with the hand. When you move your hand, like it like plays with the cable. Talk to us so we can see if you're still there. Are you still there? You're kind of still there. Try again. Oh. Nope. It's cutting out. You'll have to call back, I guess. We can, in the meantime, cycle through some. Are you there? Yeah, you'll have to call back, Robert. Like I can't hear you. I can't hear you at all. We'll cycle through some more footage here while he calls back and gets his microphone sorted. Oh, we'll do this later. Oh, there he is. Hello. Can we hear you?
Yeah.
Excellent. We can hear you.
I better watch what I say. Maybe they're cutting me out intentionally. I shouldn't say too much. Maybe we should delete that part about the snipers.
No, I'm
it's not you that has to worry. It's me. Yeah, sure. Leave it on there. Okay.
Yeah. So, some other things I wanted to bring up about this quote-unquote coup. Let me get this slideshow ready. There we go. That's the tank that we've met.
That's hysterical.
This came out on the day, a meme, because this is a comedy show. Apple Vision Pro augments reality for 3500. Prigozhin changes reality while you read the news. It's excellent. Then a couple of days later, his house was broken into /search/ whatever. And then there were wigs found in multiple passports. And then this collection was found where he basically, in different disguises, was 6 different people.
Oh my gosh, that is so hysterical. I
In
mean,
the
who
past
knows? That
couple
could
of
that,
years.
I mean, that could be true. I mean, if the guy is, you know, if he is, well, he's obviously in the military, so you know, you would want to disguise yourself, I suppose. So, I mean, that could be legitimate, yeah. But who knows?
One of the things that many people bring up is like, oh no, helicopters fell, and like, oh no. But then pictures surfaced of the helicopters. I've already shown this on previous talks with other guests. But here's the helicopter that supposedly crashed. And it's still got its rotor blades attached, number one. And number two, you can see the drag marks of the wheels, the gear, the landing gear. You know, when it was drug out here and set on fire. So
yeah, it looks like one of the planes that hit the World Trade Center on 9/11. There's nothing there; it just completely disappeared, like the plane that hit the Pentagon. You know, whoops, no plane.
Yeah.
Where'd it go?
I don't know what you're talking about. We don't discuss conspiracy theories.
Okay, I'm sorry.
You're talking about people who can do math and who realize that there was 2 planes and 3 buildings. So, like,
I'm sorry. It's too advanced.
In the most basic form, there's also this video of these like Moroccan tourists speaking English. I can't find the original video, but like they're speaking English and they're giggling as the tanks are rolling in, you know, and they're like right there for one of the news shows. So like, it's just funny what people will believe. Let me see where these other photos are. Oh yeah, this one is good. Joaquin Flores got his subscribers to get this one on the.
Is that O.J. Simpson?
Yeah.
Is it O.J. Simpson chase?
Yeah.
That's good.
It's that level. Now,
that's great.
Where is that video? We've got this video. Next. And then, because many people will say there's footage of the helicopter going down. And there is, that's true. There's footage of the helicopter being hit. This is the footage of the helicopter being hit. All right? And what's interesting to note is that 2 days earlier, this footage... No, not this one.
Okay, just to get it straight, basically they're saying that Wagner shot down a Russian helicopter?
Three helicopters and an airplane. And this footage surfaced like 2 days prior. And here you can see, where's my cursor? There it is. You can see tailless KA-52, which is what we saw in the other video, flying back to base, and there's pictures of it at base and so on. So, was this and that filmed the same day? Who knows? We'll never know. But yeah, I'm glad to hear.
It just kind of goes along with the theory that this could have been scripted and filmed in advance, and who knows? It's hard to say when things have been filmed, how they were filmed, who's in the. Could have been a drone helicopters that they sacrificed.
Yeah.
Just to build this narrative and just to get the Ukrainians to, fall into the void along with the Wagner troops. So
not only that, but like all the fifth column elements within Russian society. Not only did they flee Russia that day, some of them, but other ones, I'm sure the KGB or what are they called now? FSB. Yeah, the FSB had their hands full the next day.
That's a good point too. That's a good way to to understand who is on your side and who are the treacherous people. Yeah, why not? It's a great way to flush out the rats. And there are quite a few. I mean, I'll tell you what, I was very surprised. That's one thing that really surprised me about. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's one thing that really surprised me when this whole special military operation began was, who was really a true Russian patriot and who was just just people who didn't give a damn about the country. It's like I had just many colleagues of mine. I'm not going to say where from, but they people you thought were rock solid, they turned into complete wusses. I mean, they got everything, everything they got from Russia, their education, their job. I mean, not their jobs all the time, but you understand. And I had another conversation with a young guy. I mean, we had a really bad dispute, and he was like telling me how he's against the war and everything. And where does he want to move to? He wants to move to Europe. And I'm like, dude.
At least he doesn't want to move to like Israel. I love the peace-loving Russians who hate the current regime, quote unquote, for attacking a peaceful neighbor, quote unquote, and then they move to Israel. Hello.
Exactly. But I mean, Europe is actually pumping all the weapons into Ukraine. I said, how could you move there? I said, they're the ones they're supplying them, and we just had a huge argument. And I said, you got your education, you're a smart kid. Where did you get it from? Russia. Where does he want to move to now? Portugal. So I mean, what can you do? These liberals, they make me insane. They think that every war is the first war, and they can't see history, and that if you let this go, what's going to happen? 5 years down the road, you're going to have a massive problem with NATO on Russia's door, if not yet less than that. And then you're going to have much more deaths. So they can't see beyond this little. I mean, well, it's not little, of course, but it's a real necessary step to just avoid a massive amount of bloodshed. But they don't see it that way. They just see it as unnecessary bloodshed, which it definitely is not. It's how would you call it? Something to avoid a much bigger problem down the road.
Yeah, I was gonna say, considering you bring up bigger problems down the road, I wanted to ask. There's talk about peace and sorting out some kind of peace deal.
Yeah.
Rumors on both sides of it should be done, it shouldn't be done. What is your opinion of like an uneasy peace that could be like pause the conflict? Do you think that will be to anyone's benefit?
Well, I think Russia, they got burned so many times in the past. Like for example, with the Minsk Protocol, they found out that there was the Western countries that brokered the deal and Kiev, they entered into that not in good faith. It was just basically a stall so that they could pump more weapons and everything into Ukraine. So it's going to be the same thing. I don't think Russia's basically able right now to dictate the terms. They're able to decide. I mean, let's just face it. There's just no matter how you can pump all the weapons you want in there now. I think Ukrainian forces are just depleted. They're dragging people off the streets to fight, young kids. I mean, it's a horrible situation. So it doesn't matter how much technical equipment you have now. It's just a matter of time. And I think Russia, though, they just have to be, and I'm sure they're aware of it, they have to be kind of careful because there's definitely a red line that, NATO, although who cares really what NATO thinks, but I guess Russia has to. They don't want nuclear war going off on their doorstep. But there is this imaginary line right now that if Russia crosses it, then that could provoke, it definitely would provoke, like if they go all the way in and take Kiev, for example, in my opinion. I mean, some Russians believe that they need to take all of Ukraine because of its history, and I don't think that's necessary. The main reason is that you don't really need to. I mean, right now, the east of Ukraine has tons of minerals. It's got the grain. It's got all the factories and production facilities. So you don't really need to. I would say, if I was in charge, I would say let's take half the country, make a really nice buffer zone. I mean, the country's huge, and it does probe right into Russia. I mean, it's not like it's a very huge country. So I would say take about half of it, not just because of the resources. I think that's secondary or tertiary. You just need to have that buffer between you and this encroaching NATO machine that just doesn't want to stop. It just keeps, creeping up on Russia. So they gotta stop. They gotta stop it, or it's gonna be the end of Russia if they don't. They don't want to be surrounded. There's talk about. Well, I mean, NATO's already in the Baltic states of Lithuania, Latvia.
The poodles.
Yeah. But
Medvedev
poodles can
refers
bite.
to them.
Poodles can bite. They can draw. I mean, they're not going to be able. But you put some of those high tech weapons in there in those Baltic countries, and you'll get a poodle that can draw a little bit of blood.
That's a good point.
Finland also, Finland gave the Russians hell. The Russians tried to, as you know, I guess it was 1915. The Russians tried to attack Finland, and before Hitler got in there and everything, and Russians suffered a setback. They had to retreat, and they weren't able to do. That's a different story, different war, different time. But so Sweden now, so they there's that big port up there around St. Petersburg. I forget the name of it, but that's all surrounded now with NATO. So who knows? That could be the next big thing here, after Ukraine. I mean, that would
playing Risk basically on the map of Ukraine. What you were talking about, did it include Odessa?
Did it include Odessa?
Like the idea that you had in your mind.
That's a good question. I don't know. I'm not a military strategist, but I mean, I think that Russia would ideally like to control that whole, almost make Ukraine landlocked and control that entire region there. Because I mean, that's crucial for. Although they're always going to have access to it, but to be able to just say, hey, this is ours completely. This region, this Black Sea port, and all that would be good. And
I came across this map somewhere on Telegram, and I needed to fix it a bit because it had basically your plan of, like you see here where the original line of the map goes, where all these icons are. It had those as the Russian territories, and then it had Ukraine here. But I don't think Ukraine will survive as it is. I am pretty sure Belarus is going to take a little chunk. I would be surprised if Kiev doesn't fall into Russia's hands. And the way things are looking, Hungary, Romania, and Poland are definitely going to get their own chunks of 404.
Yeah, that's what they're. Historically, they were part of Poland, and I'm not exactly 100% sure of all the history there, but those countries, Hungary and Poland, they had chunks of Ukraine at one time.
Oh, looks like they're trying to censor you again. Your audio is rattling. Keep talking. Keep talking. Yeah. No. Maybe. Maybe not. Maybe not. You're gonna have to call back, maybe? I don't know. Yeah, call back. This is another meme that you're gonna have to call back, yeah. This is another meme that Musk tweeted that day. Most people don't know. But yeah. Oh, there we go. Robert.
Yeah, how's that?
That's good. I'm gonna have to get you a cable.
That's strange.
I'm gonna have to get you a cable or maybe a microphone. But in any case, you didn't miss much. We just looked at one meme. Let me see what else I've got here that I want to bring up.
I will do that. I'll get a microphone. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can. Okay. PFC leader has declared that it is now in possession of something called Metal Gear. This is arcing back to the game Metal Gear Solid. I think it's Tom Clancy's work. So yeah, Maskirovka. And the Russians are not going to give up anytime soon. That's your take on things so far, from what I can see.
Yeah, I don't think they don't trust the West as far as they can throw them, and they were burned before with these peace treaties, and so they're going to want to create a very healthy, viable buffer, and it's really up to the Russians now. The West is the Russian strategists. They'll determine what is a safe distance. To take into account the Western technology, and you got to take that into account now. It's Russia launches one of its missiles, and they can be shut down immediately by if it was in retaliation for a launch from the West. So you got to take all that into consideration, and just no way they're going to let them in there. So they're going to want a nice big buffer, which is what they'll probably get. Lots of open grassy fields and muddy fields, but that's what they need.
What do you make of the whole Africa-Russia friendship thing that was happening in St. Petersburg that you mentioned earlier? And let's say Africa's tilt and the recent coup that happened in Africa.
Yeah. To be honest, I haven't really had a chance to read up everything about it. But,
You're censored. You're censored.
Shit.
You're censored. I think with that we'll call it a day. Everybody who stuck around, thank you for sticking around. Let me get some music here. 31 minutes. Pretty good. See you soon, people.